So far, we've talked about what psychology is, and where it came from. But how do psychologists actually study the mind? It's not guesswork, and it's not just talking to people on a couch. Psychology is a science, and that means using the scientific method to understand behavior and mental processes. The process usually starts with a question. Something like, do video games affect attention? Does sleep improve memory? Why do people conform to group pressure? From there, researchers make a hypothesis, a specific, testable prediction. For example, people who sleep 8 hours will remember more words than those who sleep 4. That's a hypothesis. It makes a claim you can test with real data. To test it, psychologists use research methods, and there are a few major ones. First, there's the experiment. This is the gold standard for finding cause and effect. In an experiment, you change one thing, called the independent variable, and see how it affects another, the dependent variable. For example, if you want to test how sleep affects memory, you randomly assign participants to 2 groups. One group sleeps 8 hours, the other 4 hours. Then both groups take the same memory test. If the well-rested group scores higher, and all other factors were controlled, you can say sleep caused the difference. But experiments aren't always possible, especially when it would be unethical or impractical. That's where correlational studies come in. These look at relationships between variables without changing anything. For example, studies might find that students who spend more time studying tend to get better grades. But, and this is important, correlation does not mean causation. Just because 2 things happen together doesn't mean one causes the other. Maybe students who study more also get more sleep, or have less stress. Correlation shows patterns, but it can't prove cause and effect. Another method is naturalistic observation, watching people or animals in their real environments. Psychologists might observe how children play on a playground, or how shoppers behave in a store. The key here is not interfering, just watching and recording behavior. Case studies are another tool, especially when studying rare or unique situations. One famous example is the case of Phineas Gage, a railroad worker in the 1800s who survived a metal rod passing through his skull. His personality changed dramatically after the injury, helping scientists understand how the frontal lobe affects decision-making and self-control. Then there are surveys and interviews, which are great for collecting data from many people quickly. Researchers can ask about attitudes, experiences, mental health, habits, almost anything. But every method has strengths and weaknesses. Experiments can show cause and effect, but they might feel artificial. Surveys are fast, but people might not answer honestly. Naturalistic observation is realistic, but it's hard to control variables. That's why psychologists choose their methods carefully, and often use more than one to build stronger evidence. No matter the method, good research always pays attention to 2 key ideas: reliability and validity. Reliability means the results are consistent. You'd get the same result if you repeated the study. Validity means the study actually measures what it claims to. Let's not forget ethics, either. Today, psychologists must follow strict ethical guidelines. Participants must give informed consent. That means they understand the study and agree to take part. They have the right to leave at any time, and their information must be kept private. And if deception is used, like not telling participants the true purpose up front, it must be explained after the study in a debrief. These rules came about partly because of studies like Milgram's obedience experiment and the Stanford prison experiment, which raised serious ethical questions. Thanks to modern guidelines, like those from the American Psychological Association or Canadian Psychological Association, psychology research today must protect the rights and well-being of everyone involved. So the next time you see a headline like "New Study Shows," remember, that study was probably built on careful research design, controlled testing, and a deep commitment to scientific accuracy. In the next episode, we'll look at one of the brain's most powerful abilities, memory, how it works, how it fails, and what we can do to improve it. Psychology isn't just about asking questions. It's about finding real answers, step by step, method by method.